Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
Hello, everybody. This is Kevin Dunlap with Life's Little Lessons. And today I have a gentleman that came as a recommendation from a previous guest on our show. He actually works for the same company that David Kohlmeyer works at. He works for the LVDG, which is the Las Vegas Defense Group. This gentleman has had actually 27 years in law enforcement, and his specialty is with active shooter. Since we actually had an active shooter major incident that happened back in October 1st, 2017, this was a great time to bring him to our show. I want to actually welcome Daniel Miner. Daniel, welcome to our show today.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Can't wait to talk to you. I've been looking forward to it all week.
And well, thank you for being here. And I'm a pleasure to meet you. You and I have not actually yet met. This is actually our very first time actually even speaking.
Right.
So this is going to be very interesting because a lot of the guests I've actually had a pre-interview before. Right. This is kind of going code. It's going to be kind of interesting. So Daniel, tell us a little bit about what it is that you're passionate about. I know we were talking about some Uber drivers, some Lyft drivers. This incident that happened a year ago in Las Vegas. This, for those of you that don't remember this is where the major shooting for the Mandalay Bay hotel, shooting across the street and injuring hundreds of people. And I think they ended up killing like 47 or 49 people.
Right. Kevin, what I'm passionate about, that I was a police officer for 27 years. My last 13 years, I was a detective. I was a sergeant detective in charge of our whole detective division. I overseen every case that came into our office. But what I was passionate about was really honestly helping others. So I started an active shooter seminar, not for police officers, but actually for citizens on how to survive an active shooter incident. What do you do? We don't train people on what to do if they're involved in one of these incidents, it's common sense of a lot of what I will tell you through our talk today. A lot of people if you don't practice it, you won't use it when it happens. If you understand what I'm saying to you.
Oh, yes. I mean, I remember even growing up down in Northwest Florida that we would have hurricane drills or earthquake drills. You get into a door frame, you get into someplace safe. So when it actually, something like that may present itself, you already know what to do. You already know, yes, it becomes instinct. What is it that you would tell the average citizen, not a law enforcement person? What would you tell an active citizen what they should do in case an active shooter situation?
Kevin, the first thing is, and this comes out from the Department of Homeland Security, they have run, hide, and fight, which sounds kind of, yes, of course you're going to do that. But if you're not thinking about it constantly, and I don't try to scare people, but anywhere you go, Kevin, you go to the mall tonight, you go to the movies. We talked about the movies before we got on air today. You go to the movies, you go to the mall. Anywhere you go, you should start looking for exits. What if something bad happened? Where's the exit? I mean, it sounds simple enough, but people don't do it. It's too late when you hear the first shots, you hear people screaming, what's going on, and now you're looking for an exit. But if you already know where the exit is, you're going to head towards that exit. So when Homeland Security talk about run, hide, and fight, run means find an exit, and if you can't escape, you escape. So anywhere you go, you should start looking for the exits. How do I get out of here? That's what you should do, even at work. If you're at work, you go to the lunchroom, you're in your office, start thinking of your escape plan. What if something happened? Do I have to run to my left? Do I have to run to my right? If I'm in the lunchroom, where's the exits there in the lunchroom? You should start planning your escape route, even if you're at work, because some of these incidents, let's be honest, Kevin, they happen at work.
And you're saying if you actually hear a gunshot going off, so right. Therefore you're trying to find the exit that is furthest away that is heading away from where the gunshot is. Obviously, you're not going to go to an exit that's toward the gunshot.
Exactly. Where you can decide where the gunshots are, you got to find that exit. That's why you should have more than one escape route. You should be thinking when you're at work today, you're at your cubicle, you're in your office, you should start thinking, what if I hear a gunshot? What if it's to down the hall to my right? Where do I go? What's my best way? And you should start thinking of different escape routes, how to go. And it sounds like common sense, Kevin, but if you don't plan for something, you start thinking, and a couple seconds like that could be the matter of life and death in a situation like this. And I hate to say that, but it's true.
Well, there was an incident that happened back in August, I believe it was. Actually, no, in July 2018 here in Las Vegas. And I happened to be at a movie theater with my best friend. She was in town just visiting, and we were sitting waiting for the movie to start. I mean, they just started showing some previews. And then all of a sudden the movie stopped, or the preview just stopped, mid, and was like, And we're just sitting there like, what's going on? What's going on?
Right.
Then this guy that was sitting next to me, he got up, went to the concession stand, and then he came back and he called for his family to join him. And he went out one of the movie exits. A moment later, he came back in and he yelled, "Active shooter."
Oh my gosh.
So there's no gunshot.
Right.
Nothing going on. Like, where do you go? Is the guy in the movie theater? Is he outside the movie theater? I mean, when you cannot assess that situation, is your best bet just to hide, stay put and hide? Or what would you suggest on something like that?
Well, Kevin, that's, like I said, the first thing is run. And a lot of things and I'm going to get to the hide, but a lot of things is when you hear that first gunshots, as human beings, the first thing we do is, was that a gunshot? And we start looking. I mean, that's what we all do. And we'll open the door. Was that a gunshot outside? Was that
a car backfire?
Right. You should not even think, was that a gunshot? You should assume it is and try to escape. Now, in your situation, it comes back to hide, okay? If you can't escape, you have to find a place to hide. And that goes back to your office space, your office, your cubicles. Think to yourself, if I can't escape, if the gunman's coming down the hallway, there's nowhere to escape, where do I hide? I got to go back to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, before the Las Vegas shooting, the Virginia Tech had the most casualties ever out of an active shooter. Okay, there was 32 victims in the Virginia Tech incident, and one room, and I don't know if you know this, Kevin, one room all survived that Virginia Tech incident. No one was killed in that room. And what happened was they heard the gunshots. One of the individuals in the schoolroom looked down the hall. He sees the gunman. The gunman actually shoots at him. They all start running to the back of the room. He jumps back in. He runs to the back of the room. At the last second, Kevin, he goes, "We got to barricade this door." He hurries up and says, "Hey, help me." 3 of them get a desk, put it up against the door. They all lay down on the floor, Kevin, and hold the desk. The shooter tries to get in. He tries to get in, shoots through the door, tries to get in again, and then leaves. And Kevin, you'll probably ask me, why did the shooter leave and not continue to break into that door? Am I right?
I would assume that if he's not making much progress, then he's going to go find another way.
Exactly. These shooters plan these attacks for months in advance. The Virginia Tech kids, 6 months in advance. The Columbine kids, over a year. And as sick as it sounds to me and you, they do this to be successful. They think this is going to be the biggest day of their life. They know this is probably the last day on earth for them. They plan it. They know things that people didn't know. The Virginia Tech kid called in 2 fire alarms at that building months before to see how long it would take the cops to respond. So we knew he had 4 or 5 minutes or 6 minutes to do this. So as soon as he couldn't get in that door, he just moved on. So that's why hiding works. Hiding works is because the police are definitely coming. We are trained because of the Columbine incident. The police don't wait outside. They come directly in to have contact with the shooter. So that's why hiding works. The police are coming, and the shooter is not going to try to break in to get you. He has a plan. And if that plan is not going to be able to break into that door, that's why hiding works.
And that's funny that you said that, because the kid in Virginia, he did 1 or 2 false alarms. Now, Are they taking more false alarms a lot more seriously now because of things like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something you definitely, especially if you start getting false alarms at a place, that could be somebody testing you. You know what I mean? Testing how long it takes the police to respond. He also studied, what people don't know is the Virginia Tech kid actually sat on a bench, Kevin. Me and you were creatures of habit. Not just me and you, everybody's creatures of habit. We come to work, we pull in the same parking spot almost the same time every day. We walk in the same door every day. We leave the same time every day. We eat the same. We're creatures of habit. He used creatures of habit against the Virginia Tech people. He sat on a bench, watched the building for months, knew that between, I can't remember the exact time, but I think it was like 9:30 to 9:40, there'd be a 10-minute window there that nobody was in the hallways. He knew it, because why did he know it? It happened every day, because we're creatures of habit. He walked into that school and he actually had chains and padlocks and put them on all the doors because no one was in the hallway. So that's why he had so many casualties. People could not escape the building. You know what I mean? That's why he used creatures of habit against all of us, and we all do it.
So when you're saying that here's your workplace, not only do you look for the exits to your left and your right, but now you also got to look at it. What if that exit is blocked?
Exactly.
If he's coming from your right, so I have to go to the left, and then I find out the left is barricaded. Like, okay, no.
Right, and that's where the hide comes in, Kevin. You got to find a place to hide. Even if it could hide you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's 5-10 minutes that's going to get the police there, because the police are coming. I don't know in the Virginia Tech incident, if you know this, there was another shooting before before the mass shooting. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
He actually, an hour or two before the mass shooting, he went, and they don't know why, but he hid in a girl's dorm room, and when she walked in her dorm room, he killed her. Another guy ran up, he heard the gunshots. When he ran in the room, he killed him, okay? And then he left, went back and had a videotape, and we going back when we used to have videotapes, and he actually mailed it to the news before he went on to do the mass shooting. So the Virginia Tech cops were all at the first shooting thinking they had some kind of domestic going on because 2 people were killed, could have been a murder-suicide, could have been something like that. And that whole time, he was planning to do the mass shooting while the police were over at the other shooting.
So they tipping his toe in the water to see if he could do something like that?
Yeah, probably a diversion, too, to have the police on the other side of the campus.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In a little bit of our pre-interview, you were talking about Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, and I would even say taxi drivers in general. When you're participating in one of those industries, you're allowing strangers into the vehicle that you're driving. Now, you have a little bit of a passion about that. Could you tell me what prompted that to come to your forefront of your mind?
Well, when I moved to Vegas 2 years ago. I'm from Pennsylvania, in between Harrisburg and Philly. Ever heard Hershey Park? Hershey chocolate. I live 4 miles from Hershey Park in the Hershey chocolate world. My girlfriend and I, we moved out here, and my daughter goes to college at UNLV. We both started out as Uber drivers. I didn't know what I was going to do. I retired from police work. I came out here, and we started doing Uber. We really enjoyed it, and my girlfriend still does it today. And one thing I started passionate about was the safety of Uber drivers. And it's the safety I tell everybody. I've taught crime prevention for 20-some years. Kevin, we got to be aware of our surroundings. A lot of people, this is what they do, Kevin, and I'm sure you're guilty of it. If I'm guilty of it, we'll be walking, Kevin, and we have our cell phones out. And we're not looking what's going on around us. We're just not looking. You have to, while you're walking, you got to start looking for the threat. Being a police officer, when I go to a restaurant, I actually sit so I can see the door. Now, is that going to save my life, Kevin? I don't know, but it's going to give me a couple extra seconds than if my back's turned from that door. So as citizens, we got to start paying attention to our surroundings. And what I tell the Uber drivers and the Lyft drivers is, and like you said, taxi drivers, if you're pulling up, start looking at your surroundings. Is this the guy I'm supposed to pick up? Does this look like him? Does he look suspicious? Okay, is there other people around? I was only supposed to pick up 1 driver. There's 3 drivers here. You have to be aware of your surroundings. What you're going to do when you get there, what driver's supposed to get in, and that's a key thing. Look in people's attitudes. People will give you clues if they're going to do something. People give you clues. The biggest thing we talk, I know you had my boss on here, our client relations, Dave Komar. We're both retired cops. One thing people would do when we knew somebody was going to assault us, they put 1 foot back, Kevin. They put 1 foot back. Most of us stand talking with 2 feet. When somebody puts 1 foot back, they're getting ready to assault you. Okay, they're starting to put stuff in your hands. It's different signs that people give you. And we have to be aware of our surroundings of what's going on. And it's the same thing with Uber drivers. Got to be aware of your surroundings. Somebody gets in the back. What are they doing? We had an Uber driver assaulted here, dropped people off at, I believe it was the Cromwell in Las Vegas, and he was assaulted by a group of individuals. I really felt bad for him in this incident. We had another incident with a guy shooting a round off in the Uber car. So you got to be aware of different surroundings as you're going.
Now, if something like that happens, somebody just fired a handgun through the window, through the roof, through whatever, and they weren't actually pointing it at the driver. What should that driver do? I mean, all of a sudden it's like, I'm doing 60 miles an hour down the I-15, and
right,
or you're driving on the strip or whatever.
Right.
What would you suggest that they do? I mean, you can't force the person out of the car. That could actually cause the passenger to become intimidated and actually attack the driver. I mean, what would you suggest something like that? First thing I would do, I would pull on the side of the road, get out and run and call the cops. You got to get yourself out of any bad situation that you have. And another one I could bring up, Kevin, are you a sports fan? Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you saw, do you remember Lenny Dykstra? Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies in the 93. He just got arrested because he threatened to shoot an Uber driver. He got in the back of the car. Lenny was on some kind of narcotics. He threatened to shoot the Uber driver. He said, I'm going to shoot you. And the Uber driver actually pulled into the police station. He pulled in there. He said, if you don't take me here, I got a gun in my pocket. I'm going to shoot you, this and that. He threatened the Uber driver. The Uber driver did the right thing. Actually, Lenny Dykstra got arrested. And he has some kind of, a drug problem or alcohol problem, I'm not sure. But, he was arrested and drugs were found on him too that day too.
Oh, wow. Because I've done a little bit of Uber driving myself a couple of years ago. And the same friend that I was with the movie theater with, she told me a story. I don't know if this is a true story or a made up story, but some 18-year-old, 19-year-old girl was getting picked up at Walmart, and she bought some garden tools. And whenever she attacked the driver and killed the driver, from the back seat.
Right.
So it's like,
right.
If you're doing anything like that, you have to be, you can't just judge it because because it's maybe a guy, or let's even say, you're looking at somebody. It could be anybody.
Could be anybody. That's why you gotta, and Kevin, I usually mention this in all of my seminars, you gotta trust your gut instinct. You know how you get that feeling that something's not right? I think we all get it. Where you walk in somewhere and say, something doesn't seem right there. That guy's acting strangely. That person over there is acting strange. And you get that little pit in your feeling like something's not right. Believe it or not, they did studies on gut instincts. Do you know that your gut instinct is usually 90% right? If you feel something's not right, it's usually not right. You're only wrong 10% of the time. Right. If you think about it, that's good odds. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, right? Yes. If the casino gave us 90% odds, me and you would go to the casino and make a living. We wouldn't even have to go to work, right? So 90% odds are good. So if you feel something's not right, it's not right. And I'll tell you a real quick story. When I first came, I used to visit Vegas before I moved there. And one time I was over at the Rio and I needed a ride back to Flamingo where I was staying. And I was at the Rio, a taxi cab driver picked me up 2:30 in the morning. And I said to him, I guess you get some interesting stories picking people up here in Las Vegas. And he said to me, yeah, I do. And I said, it's probably a dangerous job, I said to the taxi cab driver. And he said, yeah. And he said, but I'll be honest with you. He said, if I pull up and I get that feeling that I could be robbed, I could be injured, and I get that gut feeling, he told me he rides right by and he won't pick the guy up. He said he trusts his own instinct. And that's the biggest thing we have. You got to trust your instincts. You really do. It's important. And we have them, definitely. And you know it. You've had it.
Yeah,
I'm sure everybody out there that's listening to this podcast, they're going to have that feeling where that one time they knew something wasn't right. And you just feel it. You feel it in your whole body that something's not right.
And I don't know about the differences between men and women, but women tend to be a lot, in my opinion, tend to be a lot more intuitive than us men are. Because we'll tend to just ignore it, while a woman, because women have a higher tendency of other things happening to them.
Right.
I guess is why their intuition is so much higher. So if you're a lady out there, and if you're a driver or Uber driver, or you're going to the movies, like Daniel was just saying, know your exits and be prepared.
Yeah. Kevin, and you brought up a great point. You really did, because I feel women have it more than us too. And I think it's like you said, we just don't pay attention, right? And I always say my mother and my dad, I go back to my childhood. My mother would be like, I just heard the police go down the road. And she would run out to see where the police were or the ambulance went, okay? And my father would be always like, and her name was Frances. He would always say, Frances, sit in, mind your own business, mind your own business. And it just goes back to that. Men are like, it'll go away. Where women are going to go and investigate and see if something's wrong. They get that gut feeling more than us. And I totally believe that. And getting back into women, I have a 22-year-old daughter and a 25-year-old daughter. And I always talk crime prevention with them. And I told them, tune into your surroundings. If somebody looks suspicious, be careful. Walk on the other side of the road. Walk in a building if you think somebody's suspicious. And my daughter said to me, Dad, they said, you'll never understand what it's like to be a woman, because any male I see walking towards me, I'm a little bit nervous. I am watching him. Any male. She said, so it's different. You're saying suspicious people to me, and this is my 22-year-old daughter. She said, Dad, if I see any male walking alone and I'm alone, I'm nervous and I'm crossing the street. And that's from my 22-year-old daughter. She taught me a lesson. She said, it's not just suspicious. I'm worried about everybody as a woman when I'm walking alone.
Wow.
Yeah. So she kind of taught me a lesson,
Well, because you and I are both male. We don't know what it's like to be a woman. We don't know. And there's so many women that have been assaulted or sexually assaulted at various stages of their lives.
Right.
We don't know what it's like. Most men are not going to sexually assault another man.
Right.
It's going to be, because now we got to go, we will be more of in the defense mode.
Right.
So tell us a little bit, in our few minutes that we have left, tell us a little bit about what is it that you do at the Las Vegas Defense Group?
Well, Kevin, like I said, when I moved to Las Vegas, I was happy to retire from police work because my time was done. I put my 27 years in. I actually started being a cop when I was 20 years old, believe it or not. I was going through the police academy at 20. And when I got to Las Vegas, I knew I wanted to help people again because I felt I did help people. I felt I could have my head held high as a police officer for 27 years. I did what I can to help people. So I came to Las Vegas and I didn't know what I was going to do. Fortunate for me, I met Dave Kohlmeyer. Okay. And I put an application here at the Las Vegas Defense Group, and I'm working for the Las Vegas Defense Group as a case manager. I'm usually the first one you see when you come to the office. I am not an attorney. I review your case with you, and I get you with the best attorney to help you. And Kevin, through my police career, I know that people need good representation. And a lot of people say, oh, you're going from law enforcement to working for the defense now, right? But I know that there are people that need a good attorney. And I'll tell you a quick story. I had a guy, and I don't know how much time we have left, but I'll tell very quick. I had a guy confess to a crime he didn't commit, Kevin. And I had him in for an interview, and he starts confessing to a crime that he didn't commit. And I turned to him, Kevin, and I said, because it didn't fit what happened in the crime. He was telling us a different story than what happened in the crime. I stopped him and I said, sir, why are you telling us this? And he says, because I figured if I tell you this, you'll let me go. So we were interviewing this guy in interrogation, and he did not commit the crime, but he thought if he just confesses, we'll let him go. So I said, never, ever, ever confess to a police to a crime that you never committed. But I actually had an individual that did it. And he was lucky he had 2 veteran police officers that realized he didn't commit this crime, and he was confessing to the crime he didn't commit. So it happens. People need representation. And I am happy to work for the Las Vegas Defense Group because when somebody retains our law office, I know that they're getting good representation. We have fantastic lawyers there, and I'm proud to work for this place. I'm proud to work for the Las Vegas Defense Group.
Okay, well, that's very nice of you that she said that because, yes, because after interviewing David a couple of months ago, or about a month or so ago, yes, he was talking about the LVDG and how much you guys are helping out the community. I believe he said that you guys were the largest defense attorneys in Southern Nevada, or if not in the entire state of Nevada. I don't recall exactly which one.
Right.
And I know because I've been to your office a couple of times, not for any legal matters, but I just been there talking to David about some other things. However, it's good to know that the things that you guys do to help out with the community. I know you mentioned something earlier. I'm going to go back a little bit into the Uber or Lyft driver thing during the shooting that happened on October 1st, 2017. I think you mentioned something about there were some Uber or Lyft drivers that were on the strip right around the Mandalay Bay right at that time?
Sure.
That became clients of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there was Uber and Lyft drivers, there was taxi drivers, and if you Google, if you YouTube, you actually had a taxi driver that picked up a father, and the taxi driver did not know what was going on, Kevin. He didn't know what was going on, and the father said to him, there's a shooting at the Mandalay Bay, and my daughter's there, please get me there. He goes, there's an active shooter, and the taxi cab driver rode in to danger to take this father. And the father said, I will pay you for this, sir. I will make this worth it to you. And you can look at this on YouTube. He turns to me and says, no, sir, I'm a father. I don't want anything. I'm doing this just for you and your daughter. So I'm sure Uber and Lyft drivers were there on that scene. And Kevin, we talked about run, hide, and fight. The October 1st shooting, really run you got out of there, but he had you in a position where it was very hard because he was up 20-some floors or 30-some floors. I mean, you kind of took a lot of that out of that because where do you go? He had a sight of everybody. It was just a horrible, horrible situation.
Right. And I've seen some videos and pictures of people, just how much humanity stepped in and right. When, how people are helping complete strangers. I mean, people that may have gotten shot in the leg or something, and complete strangers helping these people to get to safety, or even people that have pickup trucks or other drivers of some sort, having people jump in their car and being escorted to the hospital.
Right.
I mean, that was a huge incident, and the sad story is there's been multiple incidents since then.
Yes.
Wow. So this is an issue with all over the world.
Right.
Daniel, go back to the active shooter. Obviously, it does not matter what part of the world that you live. Any other words of advice that you give somebody in the case that something really negative like that is going on?
I would say the advice I would tell people is you have to, and I know I keep repeating myself, but no matter where you are, you have an escape route is the biggest thing. Kevin, how much more time do we have? I gotta.
Look, about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick one then. Okay, I went and saw Christina Anderson speak. She's a Virginia Tech survivor. She survived it. She was shot 3 times. She survived the Virginia Tech shooting, and I had the pleasure of going to hear her speak. And honestly, it was very emotional to hear her speak. I don't care if you're a grown man or not. You almost had tears in your eyes when this girl told her story. She was shot 3 different times. After the incident, I went and talked to her personally. And I said to her, Christina, did you hear the run, hide, and fight? And she said, yes. And I said to her, what do you think the most important part is? And she said to me, Danny, the most important thing is have an escape route, the run. Everybody should know how to get out of a building. Don't forget, they were stuck in the building. He locked them in, okay? She said an escape route to her was a very important part. How to get out of a building. Everybody should know how to get out of a building. And like you said, when we were kids, we had fire alarms, right? Why? So we would remember, we're creatures of habit, how to get out of the building. So you go to a new place, you're at Mandalay Bay, you're at the MGM, no matter where you're at the Galleria Mall, wherever you are, you should have an escape route, and especially at work.
Right, and because going back to that incident that I experienced personally just a month or so ago, about 5 minutes after he was heading toward the exit, and then an employee comes in and he locks the exit door.
Right.
He locks the door, and he says, "Everybody just stay calm. There's an active shooters thing going on." So everybody's pointing things out on the phones. There's like 70 or 80 police cars. I mean, it was that many cars there. I saw that as I was leaving,
right.
And we were probably in there for like 45 minutes. And the movie theater, basically, they wanted to lock us. They locked us in because the incident was outside of the theater. And they didn't want to have an escape route for the shooter to come into the theater.
Right. They did exactly the right thing. They did the exact right thing. I was at the Bellagio when them guys came out with the mask on and robbed the Rolex place. Maybe about 10 months ago, and we did the same thing. I actually happened to be there when the robbery happened, and everybody's running. And at that point, I thought it was an active shooter. You know what I mean? And we actually locked ourselves in a room. We actually locked ourselves in one of the rooms there in the Bellagio. So even though it wasn't an active shooter, it was a robbery, I felt like it was. So I feel you, because you were kind of in the same situation. You know what I mean? Same thing.
It's because we did not know what was going on. We were completely in the dark.
Yes.
And that could be, to me, just I don't know, but that can be very scary, because when that family left, the family of 4 left, in my opinion, they were actually going into potentially the area of danger.
Right. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Actually, you did the right thing. They did the right thing by locking everybody in. Kevin, could I just go over our hours at the Las Vegas Defense Group?
Absolutely.
Okay. We at the Las Vegas Defense Group, we are now open 7 days a week. We are open Sundays. When people get an appointment on Sundays, they can't believe they're coming into a law office on a Sunday. But we feel that people need help now. They don't need help on Monday. We don't take the weekend off. We are here 7 days a week. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we actually have somebody in the office till 10 o'clock. We're always returning your calls at 10 o'clock. Honestly, we try to get back to you within 5-10 minutes when calls come in here. But we are open 7 days a week. That includes Saturday and Sunday till 6 o'clock, plus we're answering calls up to 10 o'clock. We understand that you don't just need a lawyer Monday through Friday. You need a lawyer Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, and that's why we're here.
I'm glad you're mentioning that, because if somebody gets arrested or something happens at a traffic incident or whatever, that's 24/7. And the fact that you guys are open on Saturday and that Sunday, a family member or the actual person themselves could contact you, say, "Hey, I need this," even though it's after normal work hours or normal office hours of the county or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay. And what is the best way for them to get a hold of you? What's the telephone number there? Or
you can get a hold of me at 702-250-281 or 702 Defense. You can call also.
702
702 Defense.
702
And that'll get in touch. And if you could go to our website, you can actually ask questions on the website. You could type it in right there. But 702 Defense is the best.
And what is the website URL?
The website for us, it's LasVegasDefenseGroup.com.
So Las Vegas Defense Group.com. Okay. And those of you that will also be down below in the description. So make sure that you click on that, go to their website, ask some questions there, find out exactly what they do, give them a call as well at 702 Defense. Either Daniel or David will be one of the ones that will be answering the calls, or at least that would be the ones that you will eventually be talking to, since they are both the case managers, and then they would direct you to which attorney would be the best attorney for you.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay. So if you guys ended up liking this show, please go ahead and hit the like button below or the subscribe button below, as well as we'll be happy to hear some of your comments. Now, hearing what you have to say about the show, because we want to get the honest feedback of how people are responding to this. So please feel free to leave us a comment. And any last words, Daniel, before we say goodbye?
No, if you need, like I said, personal injury, immigration, criminal law, we're here for you. And we also have family law and employment law. So
basically everything that somebody needs.
Everything you need, just come and see us.
All right, then. Well, go ahead and check them out. That is mainly for the Las Vegas area, or at least the Southern Nevada area.
Right.
And again, that's at 702 Defense. Well, Daniel, it's been great having you on the show, and maybe I would definitely love to follow up with you and see how things are going with you in the near future.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.